Hello, hello, hello. Where's my water bottle, by the way? Has anybody seen it? I actually don't know where it is. Okay, let me grab a cup of coffee, pee, and then I'll be right back. I found my water bottle, so I don't need coffee, which is good because it is 7 p.m. at night. Today is Monday, December 16th or something like that. Where's all my stuff? This is gonna be a real mishmash video for me because I don't even have a plan. Right now I am in Orlando, Florida, and today is Monday. I'm flying back to California on Wednesday. Thursday I'm heading to Las Vegas with my family, and we're gonna be there all weekend, come back on Sunday, and then well, basically I'm gonna be in California until January 3rd, when I'm gonna fly back and then continue my road trip. I'm excited to see my parents and my sister and her boyfriend and see like friends from home. I just have to hit them up. I recently went to Massachusetts Women's Conference. It was a wonderful conference. There's actually going to be a blog post about it on Wednesday, and I think this video is going to be up on Thursday maybe. I will link the blog post in the description box below if you want to read more about it, read some of the seminars and the keynote speakers that I really gravitated towards. I went to one breakout session because it was about a woman talking about being a rebel, and that was what the description was. I don't have the conference book with me. It's actually in the car. She had a family emergency, so then they had to invite an impromptu speaker. His name was Dr. Marshall Goldsmith. And when he went up on the stage, I was like, damn, this is gonna be so upsetting because he's kind of like a grandpa. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to take away anything from him, and that is my mistake. Never make an assumption that you cannot learn from somebody else. And there are many things that I feel like I do a really good job. And one of them is to don't judge a book by its cover, or like you can learn something from everybody you come across. Never think that you're the smartest person in the room, that you're the best one in the room. Be humble. For the most part, I feel like I do a pretty good job of following those those ideas. I'm human. I screw up sometimes, and sometimes I should stick a foot in my mouth. So I thought I couldn't learn anything from him, but he was the only person. That's not fair. His session made me cry. His session was all about feedback. A lot of people in this world give unsolicited advice. If you are the person that's receiving a lot of unsolicited advice, the only thing that you really need to do is say thank you, because it's not like you're losing a bone or like losing an organ by receiving all this feedback. You get to pick and choose what you want to listen to. And actually, Dr. Goldsmith didn't even call it feedback. He called it feed future. Everybody go up and meet a stranger, say your name. Hi, my name is Juliet. Hi, your name is blah, 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 blah. And then I will tell you something that I'm trying to work on right now. And then you're just going to give me feedback or you're going to give me advice. Like 1 sentence, 2 sentences, and that's it. And then I say thank you, and then your turn, you're gonna tell me something that you're trying to work on, and then I give you advice, you say thank you, and then we move on. I talked to a couple of people, and I tried to make sure that my thing that I wanted to work on was different every single time. And I don't know, like at the end of the exercise, I just felt really good. And honestly, I already forgot what things that I said and what things they said. But anyway, so like that was the idea, is like people who give unsolicited advice, you just decide for yourself if you want it or not. If you don't want it, it's unnecessary to make that person feel bad. Like, I didn't ask you for advice. Just be like, yeah, thank you, move on. But that's not what made me cry. He was telling a story, and he was like, this is an exercise that I did with my children. He's a speaker. He travels about 1/3 of the year. And when his kids were younger, he asked them, hey guys, what can I do to be a better father to you? And I mean, the kids are young, so they said, Dad, we really want you to stay longer. We want you to spend more time with us. And so he started tracking the days that he would spend at home and not traveling. and you know, the kids are getting older, they're suddenly teenagers, and he asked them, you know, hey kids, you know, it's been several years now, I feel like I've been doing really great on like staying home and like bonding with you guys, so now like what can I do to be a better dad to you guys? And the kids were like, Dad, we want you to spend less time with us. So that was like the funny part, but he was just sharing stories of, you know, some of his clients. One of his clients, her daughter asked her what she could do to be a better daughter, and then, you know, the mom responded, and then she asked her daughter how she could be a better mother, and the daughter responded. And the mom, she thought it was so, like, it was a great exercise, so she decided to ask her mom. So she goes, Mom, what is something that I can do, like, what can I do to be a better daughter to you? And her mom goes, you know, your dad passed away recently, and I know you're super busy, but every single day I walk to that mailbox and I check that mailbox, and it's empty a lot. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry again. It's empty a lot. I would really love it if you would just send me postcards or like mail frequently, so that way when I walk to the mailbox, it's not empty all the time. And I started tearing up like crazy. And I look over, I'm like watching Dr. Marshall Goodsmith, and I turn over because I'm sitting right next to the lady, and I don't want to be like right in front of her, so I kind of like turn away to like wipe away my tears, and I make eye contact with this other lady who also teared up, and it was an awkward moment. Awkward but nice moment all around. Like, it wasn't just me that was feeling this. And if you know anything about me and my relationships with my family, it's weird. Like, I don't know, it's not bad, it's not great or like cool, it's just like weird, very, very weird. And I don't know how we got there. I've always been interested on how we got there. Yeah, so I told myself that day, like, I wanted to send more letters and postcards to my family. Actually, BRB. Which leads me to my next thing. I bought some postcards when I was in Savannah, Georgia. They were created by a local artist, and it's just 8 postcards, not postcards, these are cards of well-known places around Savannah. And I'm planning on sending all of this. I gotta write them all tonight. And you know, today was a really rough day for me. I think my body knows that I'm heading home and seeing my family very soon, and so I can't force my body and my brain to be like, get yo shit together. I can't do that. My body's just like, girl, I know you're lying to me. We're gonna go home soon. We're gonna see mommy, and we're gonna eat mommy's food, and we're gonna see daddy, and he's gonna make us crack up because of his dodo headness, and we're gonna see my sister, and we're gonna try to put makeup on her and play with her. We're gonna see friends. Like, I think that's one big thing that I've learned from this road trip is I can't expect everybody to text me whenever they're thinking of me. You know, some people do, but I guess basically is I can't force people to change to make them who I want them to be. If I want an interaction with someone, it's on me. If I really want that to happen, it's on me to put it out there, you know? And part of that is if you read my last newsletter, I also have a newsletter if you don't know, so you can subscribe down below. But the last newsletter I wrote was my favorite so far, and I think I'm gonna share a little bit of that later as well. Let's get to the cards. I swear this is gonna be a long video. I just like miss a real talk. I know I don't have a lot of real talk videos, but I got a lot of feels all the time, you know? Yeah, okay, so let's do this first. So this is Wormsloe Historic Site, and I actually went here. Do you see all that stuff over there? That is Spanish moss, and the fun fact about Spanish moss, it's neither from Spain, they don't even have Spanish moss in Spain, and it's also not moss. It is an air plant, which means they really love humidity, they thrive on the air, they don't need water. They grow on top of other trees, anything that's breathing. The state tree of Georgia though is living oak, which I didn't take a good look, but living oak are these like gorgeous, they kind of like gnarl, they're gnarly like that. They're these like beautiful trees. So you can go in here and there's about a 1.5 mile driveway, or you can walk it, where you see all the living oak and you'll see all the Spanish moss. And then you can take a tour with the ticket. I think the ticket is $10. I think it's totally worth it, because just to see the beauty of it, and you go into the back, they kind of take you, so if I remember correctly, Wormsloe was the place where the founder of Georgia built his home. And it's right next to, it used to be a river, but now it's not very rivery anymore. It's more like a marshy kind of place. But they were saying how, I have videos and pictures later. When I finish editing the videos, you'll see it. So they used to not have cement. They used to make their own cement, and it was made out of oyster shells, actually. So what they would do is they would get a bunch of oyster shells, and that place right along the bank, there used to be a lot of oysters. They still have a lot of oysters right now, but you don't want to pick that stuff up because the water is so disgusting, where if you pick it up and even if you like clean it, it's very rubbery because there's the high tide and the low tide, and when it's low tide, those oysters are touch air, and that's what makes those oysters rubbery. That was something I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that oysters should not touch air before they're picked. Otherwise, it's gross. What was I saying? Oh, yes. So they would take these like oyster shells, they would mash them up, and then they would pour some kind of like thing over it to make it pasty. And then they would add more oyster shells in it to make this very strong wall. And it looks kind of gross, but kind of cool, because you're like, oh my god. I mean, I was like that. This is not the oysters, right? I have a bunch of stuff from when I was like driving in Florida. Actually, at this other place that I went to when I was driving to here yesterday, Fort Matanzas, they also had that thing. So that thing that I was saying is called coquina, C-O-Q-U-I-N-A. So this is what coquina is. It is a local shell stone. Lime for the mortar was made by burning oyster shells, a foundation of close-set pine pilings driven deep into the marsh. Okay, no, that's not it. I think that was the only description of coquina in here. It's lime for the mortar was made by burning oyster shells. I'm sorry that wasn't more helpful. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. Next postcard, not postcard, this is Tybee Lighthouse. I actually did drive down to Tybee. It is called Tybee Island. It's about like 30-40 minutes away from Savannah, not too far. When I got there though, it just reminded me of a beach town. Like, beaches are nice. California has nice beaches. Florida looks like it has nice beaches. I have to really be in the, if I want to go to the beach alone, I have to really be in the mood for it. Otherwise I'm like, meh. Owens Thomas House. I'll talk about this emotion a little more later. I think those were the only two places that I saw / remember, and that should be just because when I was in Savannah, I was like not going through a slump, but I needed a break. I just needed a break from exploring and traveling. I know that Savannah, it doesn't have that much to do, but they have a lot of architecture, so you can go on an architecture tour. They have ghost tours there that you can go to, and there are like all these little squares that you can walk around in. I just didn't want to. I was there for 4 days. The first 2 days, it was really bad weather. It was cold, it was cloudy and rainy, And then I think the last 2 days I was just like, I give up. Old Harbor Light, Mercer House, the Waving Girl, the Gazebo, Forsyth Fountain. So my plan is to write all of this tonight, and I will send these on my way out of Florida. Was it yesterday or was it 2 days ago? No, it was 2 days ago. So I was leaving Georgia. I was leaving Brunswick, Georgia. And my friend hits me up and she goes, oh my gosh, are you coming to Florida? She was watching my Instagram stories. Are you coming to Florida? I'm like, yeah. And she goes, where are you gonna be? I'm like, I'm headed to St. Augustine for the night. And her family lives in St. Augustine. She's visiting. And she's like, oh my, do you wanna come for dinner? I'm like, I'd love to. And I met her entire family. Her sister made this delicious dinner. Oh my gosh, I love it when somebody else cooks and it's healthy and it's delicious. That is my jam, and her sister did it very well. And we just talked all night. It was so much fun catching up with an old dear friend. And I think that's one of the biggest highlights of my trip anytime, is like if I go somewhere and someone hits me up or I hit somebody up, and it's just, it feels amazing. You know, it's the same when somebody shoots me a text and they're like, hey, I was thinking about you. It makes me feel so good, because a lot of the times I feel like I put in so much energy and effort in these friendships, and it does get really tiring when you feel like the other person is not putting in as much effort. Some people will be like, some people will say, well, you know, like, I just don't really like texting, or I'm just like so busy all the time. What do you think I'm doing? Like, do you think I'm just like waiting around, just hanging out around and like doing nothing? You know, everybody's busy. Everybody's time is precious to them. So if you want to maintain a relationship, you know, even though you're not like a person who texts, if you like send an email or send snail mail, you know, or just like send a text once in a while, or DM them if you're like a social media person, you know, I swear, like, I promise you, those small things count. Like, I'm okay if I put in that effort and we make it happen. But what also gets me tired is like, I'll say, oh, like, let's like, we make plans to do a FaceTime or like do a call, and the day comes and goes, and then I'll be like, oh crap, I forgot about it. And then I text them and they go, oh yeah, I just like thought you were busy. You didn't even reach out either, you know? Like, that's the stuff that kind of stings. Like, these small little things, they matter a lot. If you miss someone, if you like just suddenly think about them or something reminds you of them, let them know. You know, those small things really do matter.